This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined here today by Lupisuliai La'auli, Joseph Parker. We're here in Las Vegas at Team Barry Gym. Malo Joseph, wa mai oi?
Malo lava, manguia faftai.
I need to expand on my Samoan because every time now I introduce you the same. I've got a couple of phrases down, but you need to teach me more. When are you going to teach me some more Samoan?
As soon as we finish this, you tell me what you want to learn, and I'll teach you.
Okay, good. I'll hold you to that. How are you? I haven't seen you since middle of June. Last time I was out here in Las Vegas.
Yep.
How are things? You looking in good shape?
Everything's good. I came back to camp at a good weight and in good shape, and this is the first camp where I have my family up here. My missus and my kids. So it's good. You know, training every day, putting the hard work, and I get to see them at the end of the day each day, which is different. You know, it's different from them being very far away in New Zealand and me being here. Now we can actually hang out here and there, and I'm a happy fighter.
Now, I didn't actually know that. The last time I was here, I remember you were doing yoga and you were FaceTiming.
Oh, yeah.
How is that then? Because I can only imagine. I mean, obviously I work away. I have a young family, as you know. What kind of motivation, what kind of boost does that give you having your family close by, considering they're used to being literally half a world away?
When you come into camp, you know, you're focused on the fight. You know, usually I'll come into camp, focus on training. I have to video call each day. But you want to get the fight over and done with so you can fly back home and see your family again. Whereas this time, there's no pressure on, you know, I don't have to, my mind's fully focused on training and fully focused on what I have to do at the fight. And then there's no rush in going back home. You know, there's no like, oh, let's get out of the way so you can go home. No, I can just focus and just fully prepare the best I can. And mentally, it helps me mentally. And, you know, I'm not missing home as much now because my kids are here with me.
Are you still staying with Kev, though? Or are you staying at home?
I'm still staying with Kevin, but they're just down the road, like a 3-4 minute drive. So that's good, you know, get my sessions done out of the way in the morning, go to Kevin's house, relax, do another session, relax, and then after the day, I'll get to see them for a few hours. And I think it makes a big difference for me.
You've got 3 children now. Your youngest is, 4 months? Is that right? We were talking the other day. How is that? I mean, it still baffles me that you're younger than me. But how is that, having 3 young children? Because they're all under 2.5, around that age as your oldest. What's that like, being a professional fighter and balancing 3 children of that age?
It's I'll say it's the best achievement in the world for me. I love being a father. And even it is boxing and we've achieved a lot of things, being a father is for me is the ultimate, you know, accomplishment. I love my daughters with all my heart. You know, I love my partner. She's a great mom. She does, you know, she also sacrifices a lot for me to do what I love to do each day.
Any plans for any more? You've got 3 daughters. Would you like a son?
We're gonna enjoy our 3 daughters for now and enjoy each other's company. And hopefully in the future, I never know, I might try for a son. But at the moment, we're gonna just enjoy time with him.
Okay. Well, Derek Chisora.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that fight. It's finally been announced. I've just spoken to Kevin. It was back and forth. There was a bit of a delay. The fight's now officially on. What kind of boost does that give you? I mean, I know you've been keeping in shape away from the gym, which is not something you've done earlier on in your career, King of Pies. But now you're back in the gym and you've got a date to work towards. What kind of boost does that give a fighter?
It's always good for a fighter to have a date locked in, an opponent, and there's something to look forward to. You know, when you're sort of training blindly and there's nothing locked in, you're sort of like, I mean, you know, you're focused on something, but you know what it is. You don't know what it is. Whereas this time it's locked in, and I think Chisora is an opponent. You know, it's funny. He's one of those opponents that can either turn up and look like he's done and he's ready for retirement, or he's one of those opponents who can turn up and look like he's a world beater. So I don't know what to expect from him.
Does that change your preparation at all? Kev said that you'd obviously, I mean, it goes without saying that you prepare for the best possible version of any fighter that you're going to fight, but when you're preparing to face somebody who has historically been an enigma like Derek Chisora, does that play on your mind at all in camp?
It doesn't play. I mean, as long as I've said it before, as long as we know what we're focused on and what we want to achieve in the fight, and as long as we work on things that we know we can use in the fight against him, then I think, you know, we're not really focused on what he's going to bring. We know that he's a fighter who comes to go to war. You know, he throws punches and bunches, you know, heavy, and he loads them up. I think there's only one way of fighting for him, and that's to come forward, chase you down, and throw big bombs. I think I'm the type of fighter who has a lot more skill than Chisora. I feel like I can box and move, or I can stand and fight. So whatever he brings, we'll be ready to, adjust, adapt, and put on a great performance.
What did you make of his outburst at the press conference the other day? I've known you for a little while now. I know you well enough to know that that's certainly not your style of doing things. What was your thoughts when you saw that?
I think, it's crazy. He went on a long rant. He has a point. But there's a time and place, and I think it was, the other fighters that were there. It's a little disrespectful, but Chisora is Chisora, and you can never be surprised. He's either calm and cool, or he's crazy, and he's out there.
Do you feel like you should be topping the bill?
I think if it was, those guys are fighting it, and it's a unification belt. So, and us fighters, our job is to train hard and just get in the ring and fight. I think if we were on our own fight card, I guess we can top the bill, and because we bring a lot of support and a lot of fans to the fight. And I'm fortunate I've actually got a lot of support in the UK now. But in saying that, you can't disrespect those guys who are fighting for, unification is massive, and so it is what it is. Like I said, my job is to box, so I just leave it up to the promoter to decide what the schedule is on fight night.
What do you make of the main event? How well do you know Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor?
Not a lot. I know Josh Taylor. I didn't really know of Regis, but I've been doing a bit of research after seeing who's topping the bill.
Talk to me about preparation for Derek Chisora. Something that I've mentioned this with Kevin in the interview that we've done, and I know we've spoken about it before in the past. When you've come up short, namely in the Dillian Whyte fight, Kev told me afterwards that you need that mongrel. You are this very charming, nice young man, but sometimes that doesn't often translate into what you need to win a fight, which is what Kev and what a lot of people say potentially may have cost you against Dillian Whyte. Yeah. Is that something that you're looking to address? Because Derek Chisora is known for coming in and he's known for bending the rules where he's allowed. Is that something that you're going to specifically be working on for this fight?
Yeah, we've, coming into camp at a good weight and good shape, we're able to work on a lot more things instead of focusing on losing weight and trimming down. So I know there is mongrel in me. I just haven't really, used it, and I haven't really reached for it. But I guess it's all about practice. If you practice it in the gym, when you come fight night, it's not something new. It's like something that you can just pull out there and use because you've practiced it in camp.
How do you view the Chisora fight? Chisora, I think his is a record that can be somewhat misleading. I think he's got 8 or 9 losses. So, not the average boxing fan, but if you're looking at it from the outside looking in, you see this guy's got 9 losses against a guy who's got 2 losses, and you form a world champion against somebody who's never become world champion. Are you looking at this as kind of a stepping stone, a springboard into those bigger fights? This is
the fight. This is a fight that I need to win. I need to win this fight to progress. As a young fighter at 27 years old, I know, like you said, the record, when you look at it, you're like, it'll be an easy fight, or, the younger guy will, the world champion, ex-world champion can beat him. But saying that, you just don't know who's going to turn up. So this is a fight that I'm taking very seriously, a very important fight for myself and our team. And it's the fight that, when we win, it'll elevate us closer to the goal of being 2-time world champion or unified champion.
How appealing is that, becoming 2-time world champion? We spoke after you'd lost your title against Anthony Joshua. You said that, when you lose a title, you were very well paid against Anthony Joshua. You were very well paid against Dillian Whyte. It forced you to kind of reevaluate your situation. Now you've gone through that. Now you're back on the horse, as it were. What would it mean to you to become 2-time world champion?
It'll be, I dreamed of being world champion, and I never really had that thought in my mind to be 2-time world champion. I didn't think I'll lose the belt, or so. It's another goal now. It'll cement, my name in the books, in the history books. And for me, I want to do the best I can in boxing while I have the chance to.
Fighter that I know you know very well is in action this Saturday in Las Vegas, Tyson Fury. Joseph Parker, for people who don't know, is president of the Tyson Fury fan club. What do you make of Tyson Fury returning to the ring against Otto Wallin?
Whatever fight he's in, he's always a fighter who puts on a lot of excitement. We saw the last fight, the movement, showboating in the ring, the combination, the speed, defense. I don't know much about his opponent, but I know that with each fight, he's always going to be prepared and be ready. And he's been training very hard here in Vegas. He's sparring 12 rounds and feeling great, feeling fit. So we're looking forward to put on a great performance.
Have you seen much of Tyson since he's been back out here in Vegas?
I've caught up with him once, and we've just been messaging. And he's good. He's always makes time, always.
I think somebody told me, I think yesterday, I can't remember because I'm quite jet lagged and I also went out last night. I can't remember which way around it was, but somebody said that either you had said or Tyson had said about the other that you wouldn't fight each other. Is that true?
Yeah, he said, for me, I consider him the best in the division at the moment. I always want to challenge myself against the best in the world. I'll fight anyone. But, we've had a talk and he said he'll never fight me, and I, respect that. We're like brothers, so we don't fight brothers, but you never know in boxing.
If he's got all the belts,
then
you want to win the world title, yeah. Surely you will have to fight him.
I just say, hey, bro, can we have a fight, please? Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. Like boxing is one of those things where this pops up and this pops up, and then this happens and this happens, and it changes the whole course of the division.
How good is it for the division to now have him not only back but fighting actively? It'll be his second fight in 3 months. By all accounts, he's going to be fighting again in February against Deontay Wilder. Oh, yeah. What does that do for the heavyweight division?
The heavyweight division, like we've said, for the past year or 2, 3 years, whatever, has been booming. And it's a division that sort of died down a bit, but now there's a lot of interest and a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of people tuning in to watch these big fights. Because there's a lot of big fights being made out there. There's the Ruiz-Joshua rematch. There's the Wallin and Fury, next year. So there's a lot of big fights that we can look forward to.
Before we move on to those fights, since the last time I've seen you, you've had somebody else join you in Camp Guido Vianello. Yeah. Somebody who I know from speaking to Kev that you've hit it off with straight away. What's it like having him in the gym? How talented is he?
I think from what I've seen, I came back into Camp Guido, was working with our team, so he's part of our team. He's living at home. He's one of those, he's a genuinely nice guy. He's a nice guy, and we get along real well. I think from what I've seen in his development, he's picked up on a lot of things very fast. And even he says himself that the style that he had before and then the style that he has now being in camp is a lot different.
Tell him that it's that way. That way. So we've just been interrupted by 2 of my esteemed colleagues from the British media. Let's go on to those fights. Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. You know both men better than anybody, arguably, in world boxing. How do you see that rematch going?
Listen, I don't know. I still think it's 50-50 fight. It's going to be a very close fight. It just depends who. Either Ruiz pushes the fight faster and goes forward because he's taking his best shots, or either Joshua, you see he's trimmed down a lot, so he either boxes him from the outside and just keeps him at bay. You never know. I don't know.
Would you recommend Joshua using similar tactics to what he used in your fight against Andy Ruiz?
I think so. I think if he boxes from the outside and uses, his advantage is his reach, and he used that very well against me. And in saying that, I don't have the same style as Ruiz where I just cover up and push forward. I'm a mover, and I can stand there and fight. So it's a hard one for me to call.
Which one of those fights would you like? What rematch would tempt you more? Would it be Anthony Joshua? Would it be Ruiz? Would it be whoever's got the belts? What one would you like?
On both, because I lost to Joshua and I want to avenge my loss. And Ruiz was a very close fight. I want to put on a more dominant performance with him.
Okay, well, I think we're probably about there. As I mentioned, we've had 2 rather esteemed British press members turn up. So, Joseph Parker, always a pleasure. Good to see you looking in such great shape. Look at him go. You're all right there. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, Joe. Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you when you come over to fight Derek Chisora on the undercard of Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. Joseph Parker, fa.
So forth.
Cheers, mate. That was great.